And so there I was, mid-morning on a beautiful spring day back in May of 2005, in an empty parking garage with a cheap bottle of vodka in hand. My head sagged between my knees and with vodka-laced breath as I exhaled. That's when that still, small inner voice that we all have said, "Is this all there is?" Well, I can tell you, as sure as I'm 5'10", 185, I heard no. It was so clear, I actually popped my head up and scanned the parking garage looking for someone, but no one was there. And that's what set in motion the last 18 plus years. That voice, that simple one word, two letters, one syllable, no, changed the course of everything in my life. See, up until that point, for the last 15 years, I'd been chasing pleasure. Just came up empty-handed. Just a series of crests and troughs and crests and troughs. Where you could say my middle name was Potential. And so I took that word no, and I've just been following it ever since. I've had so many angels in my life, so many angels that were just dropped into my life at a particular moment in time. Fortunately, I had the ears to hear them and then the courage to follow through on their suggestion. And so, yes, I've now been in this new path, in this new life momentum for longer than I was in my old one. And this, yes, addiction is part of my story, but it's not who I am. It's a part of my story, but it's not who I am. I've been now on the other side of that longer than I was in it. So I've gotten married and I've grown and invested in and have a prosperous marriage, raised a child, went back to school for 2 degrees, been in jobs, changed jobs, lost a parent. I mean, you name it, it's just life. It's just life. So what does Soul Shift Life Coaching offer? Well, it offers a before and after. It offers taking things to the extreme and understanding how how things can unfold if you don't follow some simple truths in your life, if you don't be courageous enough to make yourself vulnerable, if you don't take those chances, if you don't accept every day as a gift, if you don't have those abundance eyes, if you don't choose to take every opportunity, every day, every moment as a test, and the test is how are we going to respond to it? The whole world is a buffet and most people are starving, and I was starving. And I even know people, dear friends of mine, loved ones, who I would still suggest to you are still having a half loaf of bread. Sure, they've got the bells and whistles. They have a few laughs. They have it all. In many ways, they have it all, checking all those worldly boxes. But in my humble opinion, some of them are still asking themselves, is this all there is? And no, I don't have the answer per se, but there is no doubt I've been blessed with a life that has provided me joy. And so there's talk about happiness, and there's a distinct difference between happiness and joy. I call it six-pack happy, right? You get giddy, and it comes, and there's some laughs. And the problem with six-pack happy is it always leaves. It never stays. Joy, on the other hand, joy is a posture. Joy is an attitude. Joy is a way of life. Joy is how I choose to engage life. It's an attitude. It's a posture. It's with me no matter what happens. It's with me in the highs and the lows, in the dark and the light, and all of the above. And that is why I can say with confidence that the whole world is a buffet. Because of this joy and gratitude posture that I've learned to accept, that I've learned to own, that I've learned to reap the radical harvest of. No, it is not easy, but it is simple. And what I've learned through my days and years, and now almost 2 decades worth of this transformational living, is that there is a radical harvest on the other side of discipline. There's joy. There's peace. See, I think we can all agree here that we have 3 expressions within us, right? We have this mind, this body, and this spirit. And I can tell you, my mind will, it will want certain things, and it will take me in a certain direction, and my body will be running in the opposite direction, and then my soul saying, no, you know what? The mind ain't right, the body ain't right, your soul's right. You need to stay right here and do nothing. Sometimes even my mind and my body align, and my soul says, don't think so. And then sometimes my soul is following that word no. And my mind and my body just got to play catch up, and I have to act my way into right thinking. I have to live my life as if I'm already the person that I want to become. See, that's what's unique about us. We have the incredible opportunity, the incredible power to live in the past and live in the future and just do nothing in the now. But we also can use that incredible ability to not only focus on where we are now, but to actually leverage where we are now, to actually live where we are now, to actually think, eat, speak, act where we are now as we are transforming ourselves one day at a time into that person we want to become. I spent years whining and moaning inside about wanting to be a man of character, about wanting all these things. Well, if you like what you got, keep doing what you're doing. And I just had to get to the point where I didn't like what I was getting. And so thankfully, I was granted an angel that came to me and just said, nope, this isn't all there is. Let's go check out what's more. And that's what I want to do here at Soul Shift Life Coaching. That's why I'm doing it. That's why I've decided to run this in parallel to my day job. Because I am called to pass on that which was freely given to me. And what I've done is I've picked and chosen and incorporated and left behind, and I've just brought a whole bunch of different things together, and I've found out what's worked for me, and I've been blessed and honored to help lead other men and women down this path as well, and they too are reaping the benefits. And so that's what I want. And no, not everyone's story has addiction a part of it. Praise God, there isn't everyone that is part of their story. But you probably know of someone. I bet $1 you've all had those external shocks, right? Those events in your life that just dropped you to your knees, and you've had that dark night of the soul that you've spent wrestling with whatever or whoever you wrestle with. And you find yourself sometimes asking, man, why can't I just move on? Why am I staying stuck? Why can't I just break free? Come on. Let's team up. Let's tag up. Let's start walking through this thing we call life together. Let's start marching down this path of freedom and transformation. Let's all want to seek and harvest that radical, abundant life. If you like what you got, keep doing what you're doing. If you don't, let's change some things. Let's change some things. One day at a time, one degree at a time. There's a whole lot of hope. There's a whole lot of hope in discipline, right? Because as you walk through life, one day at a time, and you are seeing the sowing and the reaping, the planting and the harvesting, what happens is slowly but surely you get to see the little sowing and the little reaping all over the place, right? It's as simple as if I set up my coffee maker the night before and I could just wake up in the morning and go, start. Well, I planted the night before and then I'm harvesting the next morning, so I don't have to do a bunch of work. You get what I'm saying. Another one, and I learned it as a young age and it was drilled into my head in the United States Marine Corps, right? Make your bed. I will make my bed at 9 in the evening, at 9 p.m., just to get into it 15 minutes later, to get into that made bed. Sowing and reaping. Our daughter, we've been blessed to have a beautiful daughter who's now going to be a senior in college. Can't believe it, right? And if any of you are parents, you know what it's like to sow and plant and invest, and sow and plant and invest. And sure, you reap some harvest, there's no doubt about it, but one of the sweetest harvests is when that child comes back to you, young adult in this particular case, and she says, you know what? Y'all ain't that bad. you all kind of know what you're talking about, right? But we had to keep sowing and investing and planting for years in order to one day have hope and have faith in that larger, more impactful harvest, because we've built up the confidence over time in all of the smaller sowing and reaping, planting and harvesting. And so there's a real humility as well that comes with this universal truth of sowing and reaping. And why is there a real humility? We didn't cause that spark of revelation in our daughter to come back to us, right? We didn't cause that moment of enlightenment, that moment of revelation. We did the work. We put in the time and the effort and the intentional living, but we didn't cause that spark. Similarly, if I'm blessed to be in sunny San Diego, if I go out and I plant me some green beans or some bell peppers and I do the work and I work the soil and I water it and I get the light and all that so forth, sure, I did some work. But I didn't cause that spark of life for that seed to burst through that shell and to actually produce the vegetable, actually produce the fruit. I didn't cause that. So there's a real humility that should come along with this daily discipline of sowing and reaping. We've got to understand that, yes, we can do all the legwork, but we still need the biggest help of all, that spark of revelation, that spark of light, that spark of enlightenment, that spark, literally, of the recreation and the regeneration. That's humbling. But to go along with that humbleness, to go along with that humility, there's also great confidence. There's confidence because we've seen the result of our labor. Over years and years of small sowing and small reaping and large planting and large harvesting, we build the confidence of this universal truth of sowing and reaping, planting and harvesting. And so what happens when we live a life of daily discipline, of applying this universal truth of sowing and reaping, we have what I believe is one of the most sweetest characteristics any human can have: humble confidence. There's something real attractive about someone who is both humble and confident. Humble because they know it's not all about them, yet confident in who they are, because what they say, they do. And what they say, they mean. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's a little nugget about me and a little nugget into how I've been blessed to live this new life for almost 20 years now. And so if you've liked this content, I'd love for you to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. You can also please go check me out at soulshift.org and I'll continue to post these videos, and I certainly hope they're helpful. And I look forward to walking with you in this beautifully abundant thing we called life. Thanks for your time.